I came home from my morning walk to find the locks changed. After 43 years of living in the same house, the Victorian estate my late husband built for us in 1982, I stood on my own porch, key in hand, unable to get inside. Margaret, my daughter-in-law, Vanessa, appeared at the door, her smile cold and triumphant. I was wondering when you'd notice. Vanessa, what's going on? Why won't my key work? Because this house is mine now. She leaned against the doorframe, blocking my entry. Daniel and I have decided it's time for you to move into a care facility. You're 70 years old. You can't manage a house this size anymore. I manage perfectly fine. Do you? Because Daniel's been telling me about your forgetfulness. How you leave the stove on. How you wander around confused. How you're becoming a danger to yourself. My blood ran cold. I've never left the stove on. I'm not confused. That's what people with dementia say, Margaret. They don't realize they're declining. Vanessa's voice dripped with false sympathy. We've already found you a lovely nursing home, Shady Pines. They have an opening next week. Shady Pines, that's a Medicaid facility. I don't need. It's what we can afford on Daniel's salary. Unless you'd like to contribute? Oh wait, you can't. You don't have any money, do you? I stared at her. My son's wife of 2 years, standing in my doorway, telling me I was being removed from my own home. Where's Daniel? At work. This was easier without him getting all emotional. He loves you, but he knows this is for the best. She straightened. Your things are packed. They're in the garage. You can pick them up anytime. We've already listed the house with a realtor. Should sell for about $2.8 million. Daniel and I will finally have the life we deserve. You can't sell my house. Daniel's house, actually. It passed to him when his father died. You've just been living here out of his generosity. She started to close the door. The nursing home can pick you up Wednesday at 9 a.m. Be ready. The door shut in my face. I stood there, shaking, my heart pounding. Then I walked to my car, the modest sedan I'd driven for 12 years, and drove to my lawyer's office. She did what? Robert Patterson had been my attorney for 30 years. He drafted my husband's will. He knew every detail of our estate planning, changed the locks, told me the house belongs to Daniel, said she's selling it and putting me in a Medicaid nursing home. Robert's face went purple. Margaret, did Daniel's father ever tell you about the trust? What trust? The family trust, the one he established when Daniel was born. Robert pulled out a thick file. Your husband was very specific. The house never actually transferred to Daniel. It went into a trust with you as the primary beneficiary for life. Daniel and Vanessa have been living there as your guests. But Vanessa said, Vanessa is either lying or ignorant. Probably both. He flipped through the pages. Here, the trust terms are clear. You retain full ownership rights until your death. The property only passes to Daniel after you're gone, and only if certain conditions are met. What conditions? That he hasn't tried to remove you from the property, that he's maintained a relationship with you, that he's demonstrated financial responsibility. Robert looked up. Changing the locks and forcing you out violates all 3 conditions. If Daniel proceeds with this, he forfeits his inheritance entirely. What happens then? The trust has alternate beneficiaries, your late husband's charity foundation, the local hospital, and the university scholarship fund he established. Robert smiled grimly. Daniel gets nothing, but he doesn't know. Vanessa must have convinced him. Then he needs to be informed. Quickly. Robert pulled out his phone. I'm calling him right now. And Margaret? There's something else you should know. The trust activates additional provisions on your 70th birthday. Which is next week, Thursday. He dialed Daniel's number. Your husband was very thorough, very protective. He knew someday you might face exactly this situation. Daniel showed up at my hotel room that evening. He looked terrible, pale, shaking, eyes red. Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Didn't know what, Daniel? That Vanessa was lying. About the house. About the trust. About? He sank into a chair. About everything. Tell me. She told me the house was mine. That Dad left it to me. That you were just living there temporarily and it was time for you to move on. She said you were becoming forgetful, that you'd agreed to go to a care facility, that this was all your idea. And you believed her? I wanted to believe her. God help me, Mom. I wanted the house. I wanted the money from selling it. I wanted the life Vanessa kept talking about. Travel, luxury, freedom from financial stress. He looked at me with broken eyes. I convinced myself you'd be happier in a nursing home, that you were too old to manage the estate, that this was what was best for everyone. But it wasn't best for me. No, it was greedy and selfish and cruel. And I almost went along with it. He pulled out his phone. Your lawyer called me, explained the trust, explained what I was about to lose, not just the inheritance, but you, my mother, the only parent I have left. What did Vanessa say when you told her? She didn't believe me at first. Then she called me stupid for not checking the will sooner. Then she said we should contest the trust, claim you're incompetent and force a sale anyway. His voice broke. Mom, I married a monster. What are you going to do? Whatever it takes to fix this. Whatever you need me to do. Thursday morning, my 70th birthday. We gathered at Robert Patterson's office. Me, Daniel, Vanessa, and Robert's entire legal team. Vanessa looked confident, overdressed in designer clothes I suspected my son had paid for. Let's get this over with. We have showings scheduled this afternoon. There won't be any showings, Robert said. Mrs. Margaret Sullivan remains the primary beneficiary and sole decision-maker for the property. You have no legal right to sell it. But Daniel inherited. Daniel inherited nothing. The house is held in trust. Mrs. Sullivan has lifetime rights. Robert pulled out a document. However, today is Mrs. Sullivan's 70th birthday, and the trust contains special provisions that activate today. He slid the papers across the table. I read them, my hands trembling. Is this real? I whispered. Every word. Your husband set this up 30 years ago. He wanted to make sure you'd always be protected. I looked at Daniel. Did you know about this? Not until yesterday. Dad never told me. He was crying. He was smarter than I was. Vanessa grabbed the papers. As she read, her face went from confident to confused to horrified. This can't be legal. This is a $15 million trust fund, Robert said calmly. Established by Mr. Sullivan, managed by First National Bank, and activated on Mrs. Sullivan's 70th birthday. The principal has been invested and growing for 30 years. Current value, $15.3 million. $15 million? Vanessa's voice was a screech. The Victorian estate is valued at $2.8 million, but it's only a small part of Mrs. Sullivan's total assets. Her husband also left her stock portfolios, investment properties, and liquid assets. Total estate value, approximately $22 million. The room went silent. $22 million. Daniel stared at me. Mom, you're worth $22 million? I didn't know, I said honestly. Your father handled all the finances. He told me I'd be taken care of, but he never mentioned specific numbers. He also left very specific instructions, Robert continued. Mrs. Sullivan was to learn about the full extent of her wealth on her 70th birthday. He felt that any sooner she might be targeted by people seeking money. Any later, and she might not have enough time to enjoy it. My husband was a wise man, I said softly. He was indeed. Robert turned to Vanessa. Which brings us to your situation, Mrs. Sullivan. You attempted to fraudulently remove the primary beneficiary from her home. You changed the locks without authorization. You attempted to sell property you don't own. And according to these financial records Daniel provided, you've been systematically stealing from him, forging his signature on credit cards, emptying his savings account, and running up over $80,000 in debt in his name. Vanessa went white. Daniel, you gave me those cards. You said I could use them. For groceries and gas, Daniel said quietly. Not for $5,000 shopping trips and $15,000 spa vacations with your friends. You have two options, Robert said. Option 1. Criminal charges for fraud, identity theft, and attempted exploitation of an elderly person. Option 2. Sign these divorce papers immediately, leave the property with only your personal belongings, and never contact the Sullivan family again. You can't make me. Option 1 it is then. Robert picked up his phone. I'll call the district attorney. Wait. Vanessa looked panicked. What do I get if I sign? Nothing, I said. You get to stay out of prison. That's what you get. But I'm entitled to half of Daniel's assets in a divorce. Daniel has no assets, Robert said. He has $80,000 in debt that you created. If you divorce him, you're liable for half of that debt. If you go to trial, you'll be liable for all of it, plus restitution, plus possible prison time. Vanessa looked at Daniel desperately. Baby, you can't let them do this to me. I love you. We're a team. You tried to put my mother in a nursing home so you could steal her house, Daniel said flatly. We're not a team, we never were. Fine. Vanessa snatched the pen and signed the papers. But you're both going to regret this. I'll tell everyone what you did. I'll ruin your reputations. You'll do nothing, Robert said, because these documents include a non-disparagement clause. If you say anything negative about the Sullivan family to anyone, you'll be sued for breach of contract. Damages start at $100,000. Vanessa's hands shook as she finished signing. Can I at least get my clothes? You have 1 hour to collect your personal items from the estate. A deputy will escort you. Anything purchased with Daniel's credit card stays. After Vanessa left, escorted out by security, Daniel turned to me. Mom, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve the inheritance. I don't deserve anything. You're right, you don't. I let him sit with that for a moment. But I'm going to give you a chance anyway. One chance. Anything. Move back into the house. Your old room. Pay rent, market rate, $2,000 a month. Get a second job to pay off the debt Vanessa created. Go to therapy to understand why you were so easily manipulated, and rebuild our relationship from the ground up. What about the inheritance? We'll discuss that in 5 years. If you've proven yourself, if you've shown responsibility, integrity, and genuine remorse, we'll revisit the trust terms. But right now, you get nothing except a chance. That's more than fair. No, Daniel, it's more than you deserve. But your father loved you, and so do I. We just need to figure out if you love us back or if you only love what we can give you. 6 months later, I sat in my Victorian estate, the home my husband built, the home I'd almost lost, reviewing financial statements with my new investment advisor. The $15 million trust was now $16.2 million thanks to smart investments. The house had been appraised at $3.1 million. My total net worth was just over $24 million. Daniel lived in his childhood bedroom, paid rent on time, worked 2 jobs, and attended family therapy every week. He paid off $30,000 of Vanessa's debt. He had a long way to go, but he was trying. Vanessa, according to mutual friends, was living with her parents in Ohio, working at a call center, and very bitter about how things had turned out. I didn't feel bad for her. My phone rang. Robert Patterson. Margaret, I have news. Vanessa violated the non-disparagement clause. She's been posting on social media about how you stole her house and destroyed her marriage. What do you recommend? We sue for breach of contract, $100,000 in damages plus legal fees. I thought about it. About Vanessa's face when she told me, this house is mine now. About the nursing home she picked out, the cheapest, most depressing facility she could find. About how close I'd come to losing everything. Do it, I said, and Robert? Donate whatever we recover to the Alzheimer's Foundation, in my husband's name. He'd have liked that. He would. He always knew how to plan for the worst while hoping for the best. After the call, I walked through my house. Every room held memories. Every corner whispered stories of the life my husband and I had built. He protected me. Even from beyond the grave, he'd make sure I'd be safe. That I'd have choices. That I'd never be at someone's mercy. The trust fund hadn't just activated on my 70th birthday. It had activated my power. My autonomy. My ability to say no to people who thought I was weak, confused, and easy to control. Vanessa thought changing the locks would make the house hers. She never understood that ownership isn't about keys. It's about legal rights, smart planning, and having someone who loves you enough to protect you even after they're gone. My husband had given me that, and I'd made sure my son understood what he'd almost thrown away. The estate was mine. The trust was mine. The future was mine. And anyone who thought otherwise, they were about to learn a very expensive lesson.